Hello and welcome to one of our vlogs from St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Dalton, Georgia. We welcome all those joining us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as our church members, and appreciate all the responses we've been getting lately from those. Please keep those up. Welcome to this Easter weekend to this. St. Mark's is going through a change this Easter. For the first time in 57 years, we're missing one of our landmarks. For 57 years, St. Mark's has been located across the street from the cemetery, as you can see behind me on West Emory Street here in Dalton. But it was a very unusual cemetery because it's a cemetery with a big rock. Now, I say that was a great symbol for a location for a Christian church, because where did the resurrection take place? It took place in a cemetery with a large rock. Well, this year we no longer have the large rock. We still have the cemetery, obviously, but the large rock, they're doing some renovations of the cemetery, and so they had to remove the large rock. They actually took jackhammers and removed it with these renovations. So without the rock, we're still in the cemetery, but that's okay. We will celebrate Easter regardless. You know, for most symbols of Christianity, it is the empty cross, and I've never quite understood that. I understand the crucifixion has been symbolic of the suffering of Jesus and his sacrifice, but an empty cross, I always wondered, well, you know, we know how the cross became empty, is that Roman centurions took Jesus down from the cross, and he was buried by Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus. But I thought a much more appropriate symbol of Christianity would be the empty tomb, because as we know how the cross became empty, how did the tomb become empty? And the tomb became empty because of God's plan to redeem the world through Jesus' resurrection. As the angels announced that first Easter morning, Christ is risen. But I think many Christians miss the point about the resurrection of Christ, and that he was risen from the dead and he was brought back to life. But Christ wasn't just risen from the dead. Christ was transformed. Christ was changed by the resurrection. Yes, he still had the scars from the resurrection on his side and the piercing of the sword on his side, and that's very important. But Christ was not always recognizable after the resurrection. He could suddenly appear behind locked doors. He was different. Jesus was changed. Jesus was a new being. And why is that important to us this Easter? Because the resurrection makes it possible for us to change, for us Christians, us believers, become new beings. And that is one of the miracles of Easter. It enables us to become new beings. I was reading this week about Easter, and it made a good point. It says, there is no stone that God cannot move. There is no sinner that Christ cannot redeem. And there is no story that God cannot rewrite. So this Easter season especially, because of Easter and because of the resurrection of Jesus, we can say with great joy, thanks be to God, hallelujah.